So I'm just going to start off by saying that I have no idea what I'm doing. The idea was to have a cute intro, but I had no idea what to do. I started writing absolutely nothing. So if you're okay with a bit of chaos, welcome.
I figured we'd start with taking stock of exactly what is growing in the garden and how everything is doing. So starting off on the right side of the raised bed, in the mushroom substrate bag, we have some potatoes. They look pretty good to me. We also have a hidden little nasturtium in the bag. Alrighty, so if we take a look at this raised bed, where you are situated, there is a bed of garlic that I planted that I believe has started to sprout early. I did buy some mulch to sort of lay over the top, but they're still growing. I think it's because they're situated like right in the morning. They get the most sun. Moving on, we have potatoes. Well, we actually have some zinnias right in front of the potatoes. They're quite small. We have some bigger ones on that side that I'll show you once we do get over there. I actually think I planted a total of like 4 or 5 potatoes. We have 2 sprouting. Well, sprouting. They are doing a lot more than sprouting. I have not seen any of the others, so I'm going to assume that these are the only 2 that survived, which is hopefully going to make my job easier when it comes to transporting them. And then let me just bring you over to show you the rest. Our basil bush over here. I've not really stayed on top of pruning it all too well. I think it would be growing a lot more if I had been on top of that. More recent additions is these alyssum. They actually weren't doing too great, but I also don't think I was looking after this bed particularly well. So I've actually been toying with the idea of doing a what not to plant video, because I think I tend to plant a lot of things in the opposite seasons. They sell the seeds and I have no self-control. So we have a watermelon plant growing over here. We might even have a little baby. So we have a watermelon, a basil, an alyssum, another basil, another alyssum, 2 potatoes, a couple zinnias, and about 25 cloves of garlic, I think. So in total, that leaves us with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11. 11 and a whole lot more plants to transport from this raised bed over here. Let's move over to this raised bed where we have Dennis de Menace over here. Starting off with a potato on this side as well. I've been covering the foliage, and I think I'm aware of the healing method people do, which is where they just like mound onto the top of the potato so that you're constantly covering the foliage. But I believe at some point you need to stop so that the foliage can actually catch some sunlight and develop potatoes. So I think I've reached the stopping point with this one, and I'm hoping this is enough foliage to see it through, but I'm not so sure. I have 5 cloves of elephant garlic planted, which is my first time growing garlic at all, and hopefully super successful potatoes. We're hoping for that. Nothing is sprouted, so I'm hoping explanting them is not going to be too much of a pain. And this is also what it's like having a bird. He just butchered my plant. I let him. Yeah, this brings us to our biggest zinnias over here. I have cut quite a few of them. I recently made a Mother's Day flower box that I added a few of our little homegrown babies in there. If you look in between our little flower patch, we actually have a rosemary herb bush over here. I'm leaving it alone because I think that's the only reason it's doing good. So you might not be able to see me too well, but let's take a look at what we've got here. So right in front of your face is stevia. It's my first time growing stevia. I'm kind of the opinion that every plant I buy from a nursery has been pruned in a way that the plant doesn't want to come back. I'm not sure if that's a thing, but that is the feeling I have. Here we have pepper growing in the wrong season, but it chose to sprout. He chose to sprout, but look how good it's doing. Pretty. So next to the flowering baby stevia plant, we have lettuce. This is homegrown. So I've dubbed this homegrown loose leaf lettuce. I don't actually know what it's called, but this is our 2nd generation lettuce. So around the pepper plant, I have started a bunch of alyssum as well. I'm hoping that I can have a really lush ground cover of pretty little flowers. So this is one of my prize children. Look at how big these leaves are. gorgeous. A homegrown strawberry. So my strawberries do this thing where they never give me more than 3 leaves. And I don't think I leave them alone long enough for them to. But I see a little leaf. Yay. We have finally successfully gotten a 4-leaf strawberry plant. Hopefully I could just keep it alive. It is the only survivor of 5 million strawberry seeds that I planted. My boyfriend's grandma has also taken to starting a bunch of tomatoes for us. So I have just uppotted. I do see some pest damage. And I also planted a bunch of alyssum around it. So that's the one. A bit better, a bit bigger. And look at this. I think this is called pearl basil, but it's the purple one. I tried to start a little bit of an onion patch in this very small space. The grown ones are all store-bought green onions that I just potted. Okay, so I have brought us to the other side of the raised bed. The basil that I'm about to show you actually has spent a lot of time actually flowering. I recently cut all of it off to see if we could bring back a bush that has flowered. I believe you can prune them back and they should start growing bigger leaves again. I also very much did not clean the garden before doing this video, and it is going to show.
Okay, so we've sort of gone over what is growing in the raised bed. Let's look at what is growing in ground. So there's actually a nasturtium forest underneath, and this all came from one nasturtium seed. I believe this is gooseberry. It's not a mulberry, it's a gooseberry. If anyone has any fun ways to eat this, please let me know. Okay. So I started these zinnia seeds off in one tray on that side of the garden. I don't think they were doing too well, so I decided to put them in ground to try and give them a better chance. Also, with us moving, I thought we could leave the space cuter than what we found it. This is actually a dahlia plant. Once again, I'm of the opinion that when you buy a plant, they come pruned in such a way that there's a lot of buds and not a lot of foliage, and they're pruned in a way that it's very hard for the plant to come back, or I'm doing something wrong. I have no idea. I do plan to take this one out of the ground when we do move. I think they form a potato that can be overwintered, so it's best to take them to a warmer, drier spot for the winter, and that is my plan. Which brings us to our last in-ground patch. I opted to have this one just be flowers. Look at how cute. We do have roses that we actually tried to plant, but I stopped looking after them, so I think they're kind of just dying. The last thing I think I need to explain is this line of empty pots over here. It's soil that I dug back up because I paid for it and it's expensive, and I think I deserve to take it with me to the next place. Which brings us to the end of our little garden tour.